What's going on, guys? It's a sad day, so I'm back in black. Why is it a sad day? Giannis Antetokounmpo, you were my lock of the night. You let us all down. He missed his projection going over by just a slim margin. And not only that, to make things even worse for me, I had a lot of money on the line, and LeBron James, the king, he wasn't the king last night. He also dropped the ball, leading to catastrophic loss. So RIP to Giannis, you were my lock. RIP to LeBron James, you were my lock. And RIP my bankroll. Ouch. Got to find a way to get it back today, though. We got a lot of NFL games going on. If you haven't seen my NFL video yet, there's still time. It covers Saturday and Sunday's slates of games, so definitely do check that out. But if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. This is Out of Bounds. I'm CJ. In this video, we're going to be doing another NBA board breakdown video for PrizePicks. It is January 9th, almost 12 p.m. on the East Coast. So keep in mind the projections change all the time. As I say in all my videos, I just want to keep that as a constant reminder to you guys that things are always moving, they're dynamic, so the projections you see in this video may not be the same come later in the day. So without further ado, I want to get right into the video. We got a quick little news feed here. TJ Warren, as he has been all season, out. Karl Anthony Towns, questionable. Colin Sexton, questionable. Kevin Love is out. Markelle Fultz is out for the season, as we've mentioned before. Joel Embiid, COVID protocol, questionable. Tobias Harris, COVID protocol, questionable. So somebody for the 76ers may need to step up if both of those studs are out for their team tonight. Russell Westbrook, questionable. He may be rested. Michael Porter Jr. out due to COVID protocol. Darius Garland still out. So if both Garland and Colin Sexton are out, then again, somebody's going to have to step up for that Cleveland Cavaliers backcourt. And then Evan Fournier, questionable with a back issue. Otherwise, not a whole lot of other guys that are going to be probably overly impactful to today's NBA slate. So let's just get right into it. Let's try to put yesterday's losses behind us. If you won money, congratulations to everybody in the Discord who cashed last night. By the way, link to the Discord is in the description of this video. If you're not in the Discord yet, you're not doing PrizePicks right. Okay, because we're talking about all the picks. We're talking about all the best plays. We're talking about the best overs, the best unders, the locks of the night down in the Discord. That's where it goes down. So definitely join the Discord. It's totally free. Doesn't cost you a dime to be a part of that community. So top of the board, we've got Trey Young. I've talked about Trey Young in the past. We like going under on Trey Young this season. It's worked out more often than not. We're going to look at his projections on a number of different sites, starting with Roto Grinders as usual. Got the FanDuel projections loaded. FanDuel scoring is the same as PrizePicks scoring and vice versa. So they really like the under on Trey Young. Loving what I'm seeing there. Going over to our second site here, Fantasy Pros. They like Trey Young at 45. We can round that up to 46 just to make it interesting. And then finally, RotoWire. They've got Trey Young set at 39, which is way low, way lower than PrizePicks has him. So two sites like Trey for around 40, which is good. I like seeing those types of margins in PrizePicks projections. Those are typically good signs, maybe a way for us to get an edge. If you look at Trey's last game, a huge disappointment, 13.5 points previous game, 49.4, 32, 40, 48, 38, 51, 50. So, I mean, the guy can go over 45. 45 seems like a reasonable projection based on these game logs that we see here. He's been up or down for a large part of the season. His last game was against Charlotte, where he struggled 13.5 points. So he plays them again tonight at 7 p.m. So if you think that Charlotte backcourt creates problems for Trey Young once again, then I don't mind taking the under here. And it looks like across the industry that they like the under on Trey Young as well. Games expected to stay close, not a very big spread. 116 for Atlanta. They're 5-point favorites against Charlotte, who is at home. So keep that in mind with Trey Young tonight. The next guy I want to talk about is Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward having some big games lately. 37 points is his projection tonight. Again, he's facing off against the Hawks. Let's go to Roto Grinders, filter it out. 38 points is their projection for Hayward. Over on Fantasy Pros, they like Gordon Hayward for 38 as well. So we've got two 38s for Hayward. And finally, 38 again on RotoWire. So they all like Hayward to go slightly above 37. I don't know that that's enough of a jump in projection difference for me to be on board with Hayward, but let's look at his game logs. So 40.9, 60.4, previous game, 34.6, a bit of a downer there, but then 50 here. So in his last 4 games, the guy has shown that he can go 40, 50, 60 points. So tonight's projection may be a little bit on the light side at 37. His last game against Atlanta, he put up 60 points. I don't think he repeats that. I don't think that he gets back up to 60 points by any means. But if you're going to tell me that the guy's going to play 39 minutes, almost 40 minutes, and attempt 25 field goal attempts, I'm all on board for Gordon Hayward and going over on him this evening. Next guy up, we're going to jump to the next game, which is the Phoenix Suns versus the Indiana Pacers. Devin Booker, a guy that we've been taking the over on. Looks like PrizePicks is finally starting to catch up on his projections. To start the season, he was like a 40 to 45 point guy on PrizePicks each night. They're correcting that, though. They've tightened up the projections quite a bit, and Devin Booker's down at 35 this evening. So pretty low for a guy with Devin Booker's scoring prowess. If we go down to Roto Grinders, they like the under on Booker at 33. Fantasy Pros, they've got Devin Booker set at 37 tonight. And finally, RotoWire likes Devin Booker for 31. So quite a bit lower than some of the other sites that we look at. Popping open the game logs on Book. His last 3 games, 31, 33, 41. Prior to that, 19. So if you look at his game logs, he's been in that low 30 range for most of the games. Sometimes you have extreme differences where he's up over 40 or even under 20. So he's been a hard guy to project most nights, but the lower 30 range, I think, is a fair projection for Booker if you look at the game logs here. This game against Indiana, expected to stay close. So if Devin Booker gets a full run, which I don't expect this game to blow out based on what we're seeing here in the game totals and the game spread, then it's going to be a close one on Booker. That may be a situation that you either take the under or just fade altogether and not go with Devin Booker. On the other side of the ball, Domantas Sabonis, one of the better big men in the league. He's projected for 44 points tonight. If we go over to Roto Grinders and filter out all positions except for power forward, he's projected for 41 over on RG. The pros, they like him for 43, and RotoWire, they've got Domantas Sabonis at 43 as well. So pretty solid projections for Sabonis across the board. Not a big fluctuation, high and low. His last few games, 40, 43, 36, 47. Does not have a previous game log against Phoenix. This will be the first time that he matches up with them this evening, so don't really have anything to lean on there. But again, this is the type of matchup that favors a guy like Sabonis. The game is expected to stay close, and when he gets big minutes, like he's projected to get tonight, 37 minutes based on Roto Grinders projections, he usually does come through. So going to be hard to get over the hump with Sabonis, but I think that based on his logs, 44 is just a little light for him, and I do like him going over in this matchup. We'll skip ahead to Chris Paul. Let's talk about another guard on the Phoenix side of things. 36 is his projection tonight. We haven't really talked a lot of Chris Paul on this channel over the course of this season. He's projected at 35, which seems reasonable based on what we saw on PrizePicks. Chris Paul over on Fantasy Pros has him at 33. And finally, RotoWire, they like Chris Paul tonight at 33 as well. So pretty consistent across the board, 35, 33, 33. So you can expect somewhere around that range. I don't know that there's enough of an edge here for me to tell you over or under on Paul based on what I've seen so far, but here you go, 30.9, 34.8, 38.8 in his last few games. The guy's been a, 30 to 38, 39 point type of player for most of the season. Again, if this game stays close and Chris Paul is able to take advantage of this matchup here, which looks to be a soft one based on our defense versus archetype. So he's a distributor type point guard, not really a score first guy like maybe he was earlier in his career. But looking at the numbers, that projection seems to be one that Chris Paul may struggle. So I would probably take the under on Chris Paul tonight. Let's skip ahead to the next game, which is the Miami Heat versus the Washington Wizards. We're going to talk about big man Bam Adebayo. He's been having a pretty good season for Miami, per usual. His projection tonight on Roto Grinders is, we'll round up to 41 on Roto Grinders for Bam. Heading over to Fantasy Pros, they've got him at 44, we'll call it. And then Roto Wire likes him up around, we'll call that 41 as well too. So 41 to 44 point range for Bam tonight. Looking at his game logs, 43, 34, 44. There's a 50 burger. Probably more of a ceiling game for him, more of an outlier. I don't expect 50 plus from Bam most nights. We don't have a game log for Bam versus Washington in here to fall back on. So we'll just have to look at recent productivity and based our decision tonight on that. His projection's pretty fair, though, on PrizePicks. I do like him to go slightly over, as this game should stay relatively close. It's 118 to 111. Miami is about a 6.5 point favorite in this one. So this matchup looks pretty good for Bam as well. Washington hasn't done a very good job at guarding big men for the most part this season. So over on Bam for me. On the other side, Bradley Beal, guy with tremendous scoring output. 44. That's been about what I've seen Bradley Beal priced at or projected at all season long here for Washington. They like him at 43 over on Roto Grinders. Fantasy Pros has Bradley Beal at 41. And if we go to Roto Wire, Bradley Beal's at 44. So nothing really standing out to me as far as any extreme highs or extreme lows on the other sites that we like to reference. Opening up the game logs, though, this will be his first matchup. Yep, first matchup against Miami. So this should be interesting, but his game logs are crazy at times. 47 here, 74.9. Definitely a major ceiling game for him. 53.5, 46, 40, 42, 47, 56, 43. So as you can see, guys, he doesn't have a game in his game log where he has went under 40. So 40 or more is definitely in the possible outcomes. And if you look at how many shots this guy is taking per game, 29, 35, 25, 20. I mean, he's going to take shots. Bradley Beal is a shooter, a scorer. That is a good way to reach a 44-point projection on PrizePicks. That'll get you there really quick. If we look at his matchup, scoring wings, Miami has ranked about middle of the pack against scoring wings. So this could be one where Bradley Beal really feasts on Miami as long as the game stays close and this 6.5 point spread doesn't become a blowout tonight. So I like the over on Bradley Beal. We'll skip ahead to the next game, try to keep this video relatively short and sweet and to the point. Andre Drummond, good to see you again, my friend. The last time I put you in one of my lineups, guess what? I got it right. That's right. I told you I would. I stayed persistent. I stayed driven and committed to figuring out the puzzle that is Andre Drummond. And although you only hit your projection over by like half a point, hey, that's a feather in my cap. Let's talk about what Andre might or might not do on tonight's slate. Andre's projected at 49.66. So they like Andre as a big over on Roto Grinders. Over on Fantasy Pros, they've got him at 43.9. We'll call it 44. Nice clean number there, 44. And then, holy moly, 52 we'll round up to 53 for Andre Drummond there. So these sites are all over the place on Andre Drummond's projection tonight, and for good reason. He's been an all over the place type of player on most nights. So his game logs will reflect what I'm telling you. 44.5, and he dips to 39, 36, 21, 35, 64, 59, 66. So this is the Andre that I expect to see on a night in, night out basis. But there's some games where, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe they're getting blown out. I'd have to go back and look. 25 minutes, 20 minutes, 26 minutes. If he's getting under 30 minutes a game, guys, well, that's not going to do us any good. He has to be out on the floor. When he's out on the floor, the guy is a monster. I mean, he puts up fantasy points in bunches. He's got a 1.48 average fantasy points per minute, which is, compared to most big men here, you could see one of the best numbers out of any big guy. The problem is the minutes. We got to get him out on the floor. So looking at the totals for this game, they are expected to get blown out. 117.5 for Milwaukee. Cleveland projected at 105. This is a huge, huge spread. This has blowout written all over it. Milwaukee's coming off of a game last night, so this will be a back-to-back for them. I expect them to come out pissed off, ready to win. They shouldn't have lost that game last night to Utah. I think Milwaukee's a much, much better team than Utah, so I expect them to come out and just dominate Cleveland, especially if Cleveland is out missing Kevin Love, missing Colin Sexton, missing Darius Garland. If all those guys are out, this game can get out of hand real quick and could be over by halftime. So for that reason, that 43, I'm going under on you tonight, Andre Drummond. Under on Andre Drummond. All right. The other side of the ball, we don't have Giannis Antetokounmpo on the board for whatever reason. Let's talk about his running mate here, Chris Middleton. 38 is his projection. We haven't talked Middleton a ton on this channel so far this season. So let's see what they have to say about Middleton. They like him at 37, which would be a slight under on tonight's projection. Over on Fantasy Pros, they've got him at 37 as well. Pretty consistent so far. And then finally, 38 over on Fantasy Pros. So opening up Chris Middleton's game logs, 47 points, 37.5, 29, 35, 30, 38, 34. So most nights, guys, mid-30s is the proper projection for Chris Middleton. Does not have a previous game log against Cleveland. So, again, if this is a situation where Cleveland gets blown out by Milwaukee, you have to hope that Chris Middleton is a big reason why the blowout occurs. For situations like this, I like taking maybe like first half picks on potential blowouts like this. So guys like Giannis, guys like Chris Middleton, who will be heavily involved in blowing out the other team, I don't mind playing them, but maybe in a first half format only, and taking the over on them, hoping that they come out and just absolutely blow Cleveland out of the water. So that's how I'm feeling about Chris Middleton tonight. We'll drop down to the next game, which features DeMar DeRozan and the San Antonio Spurs versus the Minnesota T-Wolves. The projection for DeRozan at 40, it might seem a little high at first, but man, this guy has had some really good games this season. He's playing really, really well for San Antonio. I think the other night when he played LA, I had the over on DeRozan and he delivered. I mean, and he's been delivering for a large part of the season. So if we look at his projection on Roto Grinders, they love the over for DeRozan as well, having him between that 42 and 43 point projection. DeRozan projected for 43 on Fantasy Pros, and last but not least, RotoWire likes DeRozan at 41, so they're a little bit lower than some of the other sites, but still an over versus what he's projected at over on PrizePicks tonight. Game logs, I think they will show a sign of what DeRozan is capable of on most nights. 44.8 here. He did have a down game versus the Clippers, only played 28 minutes though. Same thing goes for the game before that one. Only got 26 minutes of run, put up 35 points, but in the games where it stays close and he's asked to play a full load, 36 minutes, he put up 47 fantasy points. 36 minutes here, he put up 42 fantasy points. So we have to take a look at the game totals, and we have to take a look at the spread for this game to determine if it will stay close, if we think it will. And according to this, guys, it looks like it will stay close. Now, San Antonio is a 5-point favorite on the road versus Minnesota. But 5 isn't enough to scare me away from like taking DeRozan or taking the over on DeRozan. DeRozan's going to get his. I mean, this guy is a walking scoring machine. And Minnesota, as you can see here, ranks 22nd against scoring wings. So I like this matchup for DeRozan. He's putting up a healthy 1.22 fantasy points per minute average, which is very good for his position. As you can see, not many shooting guards on the board are putting up 1.2 fantasy points per minute or more. So he's in rare company there. So I like the over on DeRozan, if you couldn't tell. So next guy, other side of the game, DAngelo Russell, D-Lo. Projected for 37 points. He's kind of been one of those other guys that are really tough to figure out on most nights. Roto Grinders likes the under on D-Lo. Over on Fantasy Pros, they like the projection of 38 for D-Lo. And then over on RotoWire, they've got DAngelo Russell projected at 31, which is just, I don't know. Let's throw that one out. Let's ignore that 31. I mean, even if I rounded it up to 32, that just seems like way, way too low for this guy. But we'll crack open the game logs and take a look at his recent performances. 34, 56, huge game. 39, and then a 21, 34. So, I mean, he's been up and down, guys. It's hard to trust him. It's hard to get a read on what type of player he is, especially without Karl Anthony Towns in the lineup. Again, like we talked about top of the show, we don't know if Cat's going to play or not. If the big Cat is in the lineup, this game will definitely stay closer than it would without him. If we look at the matchup here for Russell, he's considered to be a combo guard. San Antonio has been pretty good this season at defending combo guards. So this could be one where DAngelo Russell struggles in this game. But when he gets minutes, I mean, he's definitely their number one option. But I just don't trust him. So I'm either going to fade or I'm going to take the under on Russell. That one big game that he had, I don't think that is going to happen here tonight against San Antonio. So that's how I'm feeling about that. A lot of you guys like playing Keldon Johnson, and, you know, I can't really blame you. Keldon Johnson's had a pretty good season so far. Kind of been more of a surprise guy, in my opinion, as far as productivity goes. Looks like he's projected for 30 tonight on PrizePicks. Let's see if that's out of the question or if he can actually get there for us. They like the over on Keldon Johnson. They actually think that 30 is low, so I like seeing that. That's a 3-point difference between PrizePicks and Roto Grinders. If we look at Keldon Johnson over on Fantasy Pros, where is he? Wow, he's way down here. They got him way down here at 20. So what a contrast. So 33 over on Roto Grinders, 20 over on Fantasy Pros. I mean, that's a little concerning, I'll be honest with you. I like when the projections are a little closer in line and correlate a little better to one another. So 13-point difference is kind of a head scratcher. 29.84. We'll round that up to 30. So that seems more realistic. I don't know why Fantasy Pros is so low on this guy, but let's peek into the game logs real quick. He did have a down game last game, so if they're basing the projection off of that, well, I don't expect him to put up 12 or 13 like he's done only twice this season. He's more of a 30-plus point guy, 31.2, 36.4, 44 upside, 41 type of upside. So this guy can do it. He could definitely get over 30, as we can see from his game logs, but we don't know how he's going to perform against Minnesota. This is his first time matching up against them, but if the game stays close like Vegas thinks it will, then I don't mind going over on Keldon Johnson at just 30 points. So We're going to go to Nik Vucevic. We've clicked his name a lot. We've talked about him a lot, and, for good reason. I mean, most nights this guy is going to crush a projection like 42. I think last game he was a victim of a major, major blowout. Of course, Orlando, they're missing a lot of guys. Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz, Al-Farouq Aminu, talented rookie, Chuma Okeke, Mo Bamba. I mean, you name it. All the guys that they have, they're just all beat up. Evan Fournier is another guy who's been dealing with back issues. So Orlando's pretty beat up. It's going to be hard for them to stay competitive in a lot of these games, I think, with, so many prominent players out due to injury. But nonetheless, they've got him for 43 over on Roto Grinders tonight. Over on Fantasy Pros, they've got Vooch for 41. And on RotoWire, they've got Vucevic projected at 44. So they like him a bit more over on RotoWire than some of the other sites. We're going to go ahead and pop open his game logs. As I mentioned, last game, he did end up actually having a good game, even though it was a blowout. I mean, he put up nearly 44 fantasy points in just under 30 minutes of playing time. He's attempting a ton of shots for a big man. 19, 18, 16, 21, 15, 18. So he's like their primary scorer, their leading scorer most nights, which is kind of uncommon in today's NBA. A lot of today's NBA is run and gun, a lot of guard play, a lot of three-point shooting and stuff. But this guy actually attempts a lot of threes for a big dude too. So we like that. He's getting a lot of points typically. So 43, 34, 50, 47. So tonight's projection, where was he at? 42. I think he can go over this as long as the game can stay close. They are projected to be a 6.5 point. My math might be wrong, but let's just say 6 point underdog there. Good news for us is that for versatile bigs, they tend to feast against the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks don't really have any type of size or any type of imposing big man inside to stop a guy like Nik Vucevic with his skill set. We saw the other night someone similar to Vucevic, Nikola Jokic. He had a big game against the Mavericks. So if this game can stay close, 1.3 fantasy points per minute for Vooch, I like the over on him. And Luka Doncic, he had a pretty big game in his last one. He's starting to finally, I think, hit his groove. He had some little nagging injuries, quad bruise or something like that, but I think he's starting to finally figure things out this season. Can't have a slate breakdown without talking about Luka. He's projected for 55 tonight. We'll round that up to 56 versus the Magic. 53.5 here. And finally, he's projected for a whopping 60 points. 60 points, which makes him the highest scorer according to RotoWire on tonight's NBA slate. So let's look at the game logs real quick. And Luka has been doing work. He's been on fire lately, guys. 75 points here, 60 here, 53.5. So as I said, it seems like he's finally starting to find his groove. He's starting to get comfortable. Hopefully he's healthy. I do like Luka Doncic in this matchup. Orlando, not very good and hasn't been very good in recent years as far as guarding opposing point guards. If you play DraftKings or FanDuel, typically you're going to want to load up point guards like a Luka Doncic against Orlando in matchups like this. Their ability to guard opposing point guards isn't very good. So I like Luka Doncic here. I do worry a little bit about the blowout, but the spread is close enough for me to feel good about rostering Luka. And actually, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call Luka at 53. If you can get him at 53, I'm going to call Luka. It's a Luka lock for the over for me, guys. I like Luka Doncic as my lock tonight for the over. Giannis, another superstar last night, let us down, but let's see if Luka gets us back on track. Let's go Luka Doncic over. The last guy I'll talk about is Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was a late scratch, I believe, the other night. He's projected for just 28.5 points. As someone in our Discord channel mentioned, The minutes restriction for Aaron Gordon has been lifted. He's been playing a lot better. So let's look at him real quick, and he'll be the last guy we discuss on tonight's NBA PrizePicks board. So we filter out all positions, just power forward here. They like him at 28.95, so they're pretty much on the mark with PrizePicks. If we go down to Fantasy Pros, Aaron Gordon, where are you, my friend? I don't know. Maybe they don't have Aaron Gordon. Maybe they don't have him in there because he did miss last game. I don't see him in here. If I missed him, guys, I'm sorry. I'm blind. I'm blind, straight up. But over on RotoWire, 29.78. So they like the slight over on Aaron Gordon. Let's see what AG's done recently. His last game, 30.1, 39.7, 32.1. So in his last 3 games, guys, he's eclipsed 30 points and even getting up toward that 40-point window. I do like Aaron Gordon to go over tonight. As we talked about before, the minutes restriction that he had earlier in the season, you know, he was hovering around that 20 to 25 minute marker in most of these games. His minutes are up, playing closer to 27, 28 minutes a night. Hopefully he gets even more run in this matchup. So if you believe that Aaron Gordon gets a full run of minutes, if you look at his fantasy points per minute, he is over that gold standard of 1 fantasy point per minute, averaging 1.1 fantasy points per minute. A little bit of a tough matchup for him, but he's the type of guy that if the game stays close, looking at those fantasy points per minute, he's done really well with his time out on the court. So I think 28.5 is a little light on Aaron Gordon. I like the over, but maybe I'm completely wrong. What do you guys think? Do you think Aaron Gordon goes over or under? I'd like to hear your thoughts. So drop down to the comment section below. Let me know what you're thinking. If you don't like Aaron Gordon, who do you like? And do you like him to go over or under? I like to hear your guys' picks and who your locks are each night. So I appreciate all the comments that you guys leave. I get to all of them and like to reply back to you guys as quick as possible and pick your brains and stuff. But I think that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully we can kind of lick our wounds if we had rough nights like I did last night on PrizePicks and turn things around, whether it be on NFL, whether it be on NBA. So I wish you guys all the best of luck. Thank you for subscribing, turning on notifications. All the likes mean a lot to me. All the comments mean a lot to me. Share the video with the entire world. And let's go win some money tonight. Peace out, guys.